There are a lot of big companies who are generating a lot of data, and usually they generate data on, for example, roads that have been built with public money. They generate data, keep it for themselves and use it to optimize their own company. And with using blockchain technology, you can create a good platform on which to share data. Hi guys, my name is Jochem Verheul. I'm the founder of the Open Mobility Network. It's a foundation that develops open source software for the mobility industry. We focus on blockchain technology, of course. And on today's episode of Blockchain Beyond the Hype, I'm going to share with you how blockchain technology performs in the context of smart cities. Enjoy! I would say three important things. First of all, there's a transaction ledger. So at the moment there are many different banks, many different payment providers, and it would be great if these companies and institutions are able to share their transactions on a shared ledger. So for you have one account to, for example, travel using all kinds of forms of mobility. The second one is opening up data, which means that it's the same thing. Currently there are a lot of big companies who are generating a lot of data, and usually they generate data on, for example, roads that have been built with public money. They generate data, keep it for themselves and use it to optimize their own company. And with using blockchain technology, you can create a good platform on which to share data. And the third thing is that blockchain technology gives the possibility to protect the identities of people while still connecting to the bigger network. So you can operate with the big network like Facebook, for example, but without sharing your personal data. Basically my first biggest company, right? So it's a virus. It's an agency that develops web-based applications, but was always focusing on experimenting a lot with AI, with blockchain, already really a long time ago. And I started it in 2009, and it still exists. We've developed platforms for the biggest companies of the Netherlands, like Heineken, Shell, Miffy, all the big brands are a client or have been a client. So that is a beautiful legacy to continue on. So in our companies, we always had a lot of interns, and especially when somebody has a technology background, I always tell them that just start doing something and get something online. It doesn't matter if it's beautiful or very functional, but you have to get your first releases online, because if you have something online, things will go bad, right? So you'll get hacked or whatever. A lot of things will happen, and it's that experience that will allow you to learn much more than you can learn only in school. So just start programming something, and hope that people start using it, and make a lot of mistakes in the context of your studies. A city that is able to use technology to have a really prosperous, healthy, wealthy city in which technology is being used as an inclusive mechanism, right? So it's not that only the rich or only people who are very capable are able to use technology. So it's also a tool of getting everybody on board, including elderly, poor people. And it's about sharing data and protecting privacy of people. Of course, I'm originally from Amsterdam, I think there's still a lot there's still a lot of progress to be made on the Amsterdam in Amsterdam city. However, they do a really good job. So they have actually they hired somebody as a sort of CTO of the city, and they open up a lot of data, and they are pushing really hard, especially on the field of mobility, to just push out cars and make more room for people to live, breathe, play. So that's really good. And on the technology part, of course, Singapore is a brilliant city where they really push forward on creating realizing their pretty bold ambitions. A good example is we are involved in a project where we are tokenizing a social welfare card. Government can add tokens to wallets to people who are eligible to travel for free, and people can use then these tokens to travel for free. And because it's an open ledger, people can also really see what kind of money the government spends on allowing poor people or elderly people to travel for free. So it's full transparency on that one, and we can build it in such a way that it connects to the current mobility ecosystem. So you can just use your current travel card, for example. Yeah, the private sector, of course, is always in some kind of battlefield where they think it's the winner takes it all. However, when it comes to mobility, it's not only a private good, right? Mobility should be a public good, and anybody should be able to travel from A to B with the most efficient methods possible. So there is definitely some kind of conflict in there, because I think that if Uber generates all this data, then you on the roads that have been paid with tax money, then you should open up this data. And while a lot of companies claim, again like Uber, that they are fighting congestion, if you just look at the statistics, for example, in San Francisco, it's actually more busy because of Uber. There's more pollution because of Uber, and the cost of mobility also have increased. Yeah, with the private sector, we really like to cooperate, and we cooperate with a lot of the public transport companies and cities and the mobility startups, and also other ones. But there is a conflict of interest, because we think mobility should belong to everybody, while other companies are fighting to say, no, it belongs to me. So we have offices in Amsterdam, Singapore, it's true. However, we have recently opened up everything, right? So we've open sourced all our code base, and we've also switched to Cosmos, which means that everything we do is open, and it allows developers worldwide to tackle, to collaborate on this and build like a totally open version of Uber. Scaling it up, of course, and it's, I think, for most of the blockchains, this is the big challenge, because we have transactions, and so we need fast transactions. Because if you check in a bus or on a scooter, you want to pay, and you don't want to wait for a long time. But however, if you want to have a fully open network, you need some kind of mechanism to make sure that it's safe, and then it also becomes slow. So that is the main issue. It's not only for us, but it's, I think, in blockchain in general. And how we solve it with Cosmos, we have proof of stake blockchain, which means that in the beginning we have like a sort of permission network where we assign the people who are validating for the network, and later on we can open it up step by step. That gives us a roadmap to fully open it up. So we started working in 2017 on this project, and back then the current the state of blockchain technology was very interesting because everybody was in the ICO modus and screaming that their blockchain was superior to the other blockchain. But if you really started to build against it, you saw that some things were just not ready yet at the moment. Also because we need a permissioned network, because we cannot fully open all the transactions up, especially in public transport. Your check-in data on a public blockchain, right? We needed to protect that one, so we decided to build a lot of things from scratch. We used many sawtooth components, which is brilliant if you want to use an environment that's closed. We have converted everything to Cosmos. It means a lot of new things we need to build, but it's far more scalable because there's a great community of developers behind it as well. Using a concept like Cosmos, we can build dedicated platforms for each specific feature. So the transaction ledger should be super fast. A ledger where we want to share data maybe does not need to be super fast, but the other one needs to be. So we can build dedicated software for each feature. So that allows us to have a highly performing network. Then again, if we want to operate at a really, really big scale, there are a lot of challenges that we need to overcome together with our community. That's a good question, of course, but it's true for every open source project. So we need to manage our project really well, incentivize everybody who is contributing on our mission, and just make a group of people who are really happy to collaborate with each other. And I think if we manage to do that, then it's a very, very sustainable model, because it has been proven many times that open source initiatives can really be super successful. It's an easy question, because imagine Uber available to anybody or to any developer to build their own stuff on. I mean, that would definitely beat Uber, right? So that's exactly what we are trying to build. So bye-bye, Uber. Yeah, the key is in collaboration. So if companies are incentivized to share data with each other, then a journey can be planned much more efficiently. So if you want to travel from A to B, and it's very efficient with a taxi, but then it's more efficient to take public transport, if both of them are aware of the possibility and have incentives to share this data and collaborate, everything will be much efficient immediately from there, because we can basically use our resources much more effectively. Yeah, of course, the whole concept of a smart city is closely connected to the availability of data and the availability of the data of everyone, because a 14-year-old brilliant kid with a genius ID should have access to the same data as bigger mobility companies have. Because if you all collaborate on solving issues which are public, then the whole idea of a smart city can really come to life. And if there is no data publicly available, good luck creating an innovative atmosphere where people and companies collaborate on achieving these big goals. You have to also take a little bit back in time, because after the internet bubble bursted, the big companies arrived, like Google, Facebook, Uber, and what they did is they built really beautiful applications that you use all the time, and they harvest data with it. And so the only way to connect with these big networks is to basically give away all your privacy, and they monetize it on it badly. Just today, it was in the news that Google employees actually listen on the Google Home device. So if you have a Google Home device in your house, real people, so no, also algorithms, but also real people just listen with you. It's beyond imagination that I think we allow such a thing to exist. Blockchain technology would allow people to interact with big networks while maintaining their privacy. On general, you can say that using blockchain technology, we can build a very connected world in which people can remain individuals, and that aspect has a lot to do with privacy and sharing data in a way that that protects you as a person. It's already booming, of course, and it's beyond the crypto hype, right? So you see that bigger companies have already hired people who should investigate blockchain technology. So they've decided that blockchain is one of the bigger things. Same with AI. This market is really, it's in one hand it's just in the beginning, but on the other hand it's booming because people think and see that, okay, yes, maybe I've missed some part of the internet bubble, and it's not going to happen again. It's especially with banks. In the Netherlands, you see that many banks are involved in big blockchain projects, and I think it has something to do with them missing out on the internet bubble. So I hope you enjoyed watching this episode, and if you're curious about blockchain and want to know more, you should follow Blockchain Zoo's social media and also subscribe to their YouTube channel, of course. See you again. Bye.